starting normal distribution today? Okay. Before we start this, let's quickly revise what was binomial distribution. Okay, so in binomial distribution, we're going to take a scenario that requires binomial distribution. For example, a die is thrown, let's say 8 times. So then n used to be 8. You have to find the probability that you get this 3 at the top, let's say 5 times in these 8 throws. So then R would be 5. And probability of success would be probability of getting a 3 at the top, which is 1/6. And probability of failure would be 5/6. So then probability X is equals to R becomes NCR PR
सिलेबस में 3 डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन है वैसे
N minus R G. Okay, so N used to be 8. N is 8, R is 5, P is 1/6 power 5, and then 5/6 power 3. So this used to be normal distribution. We've done in the entire chapter of that a few weeks back. So I don't think I showed it to you graphically back then, but graphically this distribution looks like this. And symmetric distribution on the other end. Okay. Now, what normal distribution is the continuous version of this distribution. This distribution is discrete. See, R could be 5, R could be 6, R could be 1, R cannot be 1.5. So, what normal distribution is, it's actually the continuous version of binomial distribution. And in binomial distribution, number of trials are fixed. For example, there are 8 trials in the example that I've given. In normal distribution, there's no limit to the number of trials. So normal distribution looks like this graphically. This value in the middle is the mean of the distribution. The area under the graph represents probability. This is the mean. Then this, from here to here, we can say this is one standard deviation away from the mean, this region. So then this would be mu plus 1 standard deviation, and this would be mu minus 1 standard deviation. So this region is within 1 standard deviation of the mean. For example, mean is 0.2, standard deviation is 0.1. So then this would be 0.3 and that would be 0.1. That's just a vague example. So in this region, within 1 standard deviation of the mean, almost 68% of all the distribution values lie within this region. Or you can say 2/3 of the data lies within this region. Then this would be 2 standard deviation away from the mean. Almost 95% of the data lies within these limits. And 99.999% data lies within 3 standard deviation of the mean. Okay. Now the practice questions that we're going to start. In those questions is an assumption that mean is 0. So from now, our mean is 0, unless I tell you that it's not. So for now, mean would be 0. That means this value here is 0. On the y-axis, there's probability, by the way. This would be probability. Anyway. Mean is 0 and also standard deviation is 1. We'll change it tomorrow, but for today, mean is 0, standard deviation is 1. Okay, now let's take a look at how we solve these questions. Okay, so the variable representing normal distribution is z, and you have to find probability z is less than n equals to small z. So let's say small z is, by the way, on the x-axis. So let's say you have to find probability z is less than 1.236. So if this is 0, 1.236 is towards somewhere here. And you have to find this area, because area represents probability z, which is a random variable having normal distribution. Find the probability that this random variable is less than 1.238. The assumption here is that the mean of the distribution is 0, standard deviation of the distribution is 1. Okay. Now what you have to do, you have to read the normal distribution table to give the answer for this. By the way, it's also represented by phi z. So if the question says find phi bracket 1.236, so then you have to find probability z is less than 1.236. Okay, now we go to the table and learn how to read this probability from the given table. Okay, here's the probability distribution table. The probability was 1.236. So on the first row, this row, find 1.2. Here's 1.2.
मैम वैसे फायर का चीज है, एक मिनट।
हाँ,
मैम ये फायर का चीज होती है वैसे, तो फायर सिंबल नहीं आपने लगाया
हाँ,
होता है
वही है, वही है. You're asking me to go back to the board?
नहीं मैम, आई एम आस्किंग यू के ये फायर सिंबल क्या
हाँ,
रिप्रेजेंट
बिल्कुल
करता
है,
है?
बिल्कुल वही 5 सिंबल ही है. ये normal distribution represent करता है. So if it's 5
ठीक है मैम।
less than 0.2, that means you have to find probability z is less than 0.2. Okay, so where were we? Second, I have to zoom, figure out how to zoom it out. Okay, here we are. Okay, so it was 1.236. Okay, so 1.2 is here, and then 3 is here. So you read this value, 0.8907, and 6 is read from here. This is 6. So what do we have on the same row underneath 6? It's 11. So 11 is actually added to the last two numbers. So you have to add 0.8907 and 0.0011. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, in fact, I'll do it here. So 0.8907, add 11 to it. So 9198.0. So 0.8919 is going to be the probability. The answer is 0.8919. Okay, I'm changing the question now. Probability 3 is less than 1.236 came out to be 0.8919. 18, sorry, not 9. This is 8. When you add 7 and 1, you get 8. Okay. Okay. Now we're changing the question to probability Z is greater than equals to 1.236. Greater than or less than does not make any difference. Okay, before this, we should practice Z is less than minus 1.236. बल्कि नहीं, मैं ना थोड़े एडवांस पे ले गई हूँ, मुझे पहले थोड़ा बेसिक डिस्कस करना चाहिए. Okay, let's do another such example. Probability Z is less than and equals to 0.123. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's less than or less than equals to, doesn't make any difference because this distribution is continuous. Okay, so we have to find probability the random variable Z is less than 0.123. So 0.123 would be somewhere over here, very close to 0, should be even closer to 0. And you have to find this probability. So basically, we're finding phi Z or phi 0.123. Okay, now let's read it from the table. Okay, so 0.1 is here, 2 is up here. This is going to be probability, but we have to add something to it. It's 0.12 and then 3, and you add 3, use this 3. So you have to add 12 to the probability that you got earlier. 0.5478, add 12 with the last two numbers. So 0 here, 9 here, 4 here, 5 here, and 0.5490. That is the answer. Okay. This came out to be 0.5490.
आपकी स्क्रीन शेयर होगी मैम.
Oh, sorry. In fact, I have to share not just the board, but my entire screen. Okay. Acha ji. Next is P is less than P, probability Z is less than negative 0.123. Okay, so negative 0.123 is going to be towards the left. Somewhere over here, negative 0.123. And we have to find this probability. Now this is going to be a problem because we don't have negative 0.1 anywhere on this chart. We don't have negative numbers. So this chart does not cater for negative numbers. So we need to do a bit of fixing. Now notice that this probability or this area is going to be the same as this area because this curve is very symmetrical. And here you'll have positive version of it, 0.123. So now we have reflected the area. The area is not going to change. So now we have a positive value instead of a negative value, 0.123. Now you can't directly read phi 0.123 from the graph because that is equals to probability the random variable Z is less than 0.123. But here I have marked the side where the random variable Z is greater than 0.123. So again, the chart only reads less than values, not greater than values. So now we have to do another fix and say that, yeah, okay. So now we say that we can find this entire area, which is the maximum probability, which is 1. So we can do 1 minus this area. And it should give us the required area. So that means that if you have probability Z is less than, let's say, negative A, then that's actually equals to 1 minus probability Z is less than A. Remember this rule. Okay, so we have to do 1 minus probability Z is less than 0.123, which we already found earlier. This was it. So now we're going to do 1 minus 0.5490. Which gives let me find it out. 0.45. So let's quickly recap what we did in the last part. It said find probability Z is less than a negative value. So on the chart, we don't have any negative value. So what we did, we projected the area towards the right, and we noticed that it's the same as probability Z is greater than 0.123. But the chart only reads the area when it's less than and not greater than symbol. So then you can do 1 minus probability z is less than 0.123. And we have concluded this general rule, which is very important. Only this you can read from the normal distribution table, and then you can get the answer. Okay, another example. Okay. Next is probability z is less than and equals to, I think ये हमने कर लिया. Okay, let's move on to the harder example. Probability c is greater than 0.588. This is the simplest case. So let's quickly recap that. You have to find this probability. 0.588. Acha, no, it's greater than, so it's not the typical case. My bad. You have to find this area or this probability. So the chart does not work unless you have z less than something. And also that something must be positive. Here it is
तो
positive.
लेसन को 1 से माइनस कर देगा, राइट मैम?
Exactly. So what you do is you can use the chart to find this area and then subtract it from 1. So 1 minus probability z is less than 0.588, or it can be also written like this: 1 minus phi 0.588. Phi means less than. P z is less than that value. Okay, now let's go to the chart and read what is the probability at 0.588. So we have 0.5 here. It's 0.588. So this is 0.5, and then that's 8, which gives this probability. Then add another 8 to it, which is 27. So add 27 to it, 0.7190, and sorry, not 28, 27 in the last 2 digits. So we get 7, 11, 2, 7. Now you subtract this probability from 1. So we're going to do,
मैम वैसे 8 बॉक्सेस क्यों राइट में गए थे, हम दोबारा समझा सकती हैं मैम?
एक सेकेंड, 1 minus 0.7, क्या आया था, 0.7217.
217.
And that gives 0.273. Okay. क्या बात दोबारा समझाऊं?
कि आपने z के आगे 8 क्यों ऐड किया था, मतलब कि 8 बॉक्सेस टू राइट क्यों किए थे आपने मैम?
एक सेकेंड, कहाँ 8 ऐड किए?
मैम जैसे 0.5 z में है तो आपने 8 मतलब कि नीचे 0.7.
आपने फाइंड करनी है प्रोबेबिलिटी z इज लेस देन 0.588. सो 0.5 तो यहाँ आ जाता है, फिर नेक्स्ट नंबर 8 यहाँ आ जाता है. सो द प्रोबेबिलिटी इज दिस 0.7190, but there's also another number 8, which is here. So then you read the value.
डेसिमल प्लेस के हिसाब से किया जाता है, ठीक है मैम, समझा
हाँ,
आगे।
एंड में, बिल्कुल एंड में वो ऐड होते हैं लास्ट डिजिट्स के
ठीक है
साथ।
मैम।
ओके, ओके, नेक्स्ट इज probability. Z is greater than minus 2.468. Okay, so minus negative, this is 0, negative 2 would be somewhere over here. Let's say negative 2.468. So we have to find this area or this probability. So अब दो मसले हैं, एक तो ये है कि नेगेटिव वैल्यू है, टेबल नेगेटिव वैल्यू नहीं रीड करता, और दूसरा मसला ये है कि ये ग्रेटर देन है। ग्रेटर देन भी टेबल नहीं बताता, टेबल लेस देन बताता है हमेशा प्रोबेबिलिटी, कि प्रोबेबिलिटी z is less than this value. So again we'll make use of the symmetrical nature of this curve and instead find this area 2.4680 के लेफ्ट वाला एरिया।
सेम ही आंसर आएगा मैम इससे?
सेम आएगा, बिल्कुल सेम एरिया आएगा। So this would change into probability z is less than 2.468. So now not only it became positive, it also became less than. So back to the table. Two point four is here, 6 is here, so it's going to be this. Also there's an 8 in the end, which is right here, so you have to add 2 to the last number, so 0.9931 and 2 in the end, so 0.9933. That would be the answer. Okay. So that means there's another rule that when probability z is greater than minus a, that is actually the same as probability z is less than a. It's the same thing. Okay. Next is probability z is greater than and equals to negative 0.067. I think it's same as the previous question. Symmetric curve, 0 here, negative 0.067 and also greater than and equals to that. So this area or this probability is required. Two problems here. One that the value is negative, also it says greater than. Change both of that using the symmetrical property of this curve. You're going to find same area by finding probability of this side, because there's also a positive 0.067 to the left. And now you have to find the probability. So we're finding probability z is less than or less than equals to 0.067. Equals, putting equals to or not putting equals to doesn't make any difference. So 0.067. Okay, so we have 0.0 at the very top, 6 here, and 7, which is here, which is 28. So add 28 with the last 2 digits. This is what I'm getting. 0.5267. So I think that's enough for today. We'll continue from here tomorrow. If possible, please revise this before tomorrow's class. All right, take care. Allah
Allah
Hafiz.
Hafiz, ma'am.